Welcome back to my channel, and if you are visiting for the first time, you are highly welcome. This is where we simplify anatomy, and here we also learn anatomy with so much fun. Ride on with me as I unfold the details behind the blood supply of the duodenum. This lecture will be good for medical students and also students of allied medical sciences. I have done the lecture on the duodenum. If you've not checked that lecture, please kindly go and do so to keep yourself updated. This is the duodenum outline in black. We know that the duodenum is subdivided into 4 regions. We have the superior part of the duodenum, we have the descending part, we have the horizontal part, and the last region is the ascending part. The different regions of the duodenum are supplied by branches from different vessels, and that is what this lecture will be unfolding. The upper region of the duodenum is supplied by branches from the celiac trunk, while the lower region of the duodenum is supplied by branches from the superior mesenteric artery. So let's dive in to see how this will be presented. This is the abdominal aorta, and the abdominal aorta is the inferior continuation of the thoracic aorta. In the anterior region of the abdominal aorta, we have the emergence of the celiac trunk, and this is the celiac trunk arrowed here. The celiac trunk gives off 3 initial branches, and this includes the splenic artery. This is the splenic artery. The splenic artery drives towards the spleen to supply it oxygen, and the second branch from the celiac trunk is the left gastric artery, and this is the left gastric artery that runs along the superior part of the lesser curvature of the stomach to supply regions of the stomach. And the last branch of the celiac trunk is the common hepatic artery. This is a very short artery that emerges also from the celiac trunk, and it is the common hepatic artery. It is branches from this common hepatic artery that supplies the upper region of the duodenum. So let's further dive in to see how this supply emerges. So from the common hepatic artery, we have the emergence of the gastroduodenal artery, and this is the gastroduodenal artery arrowed in red. The gastroduodenal artery will further subdivide into 2. We have the right gastroepiploic artery. This is the right gastroepiploic artery, or the right gastromental artery. This artery also goes further to supply regions of the stomach. The second branch of the gastroduodenal artery is the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery. This is the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery that is arrowed in blue. This is where the main branch of the duodenum will emerge from. This superior pancreaticoduodenal artery will divide into anterior divisions. This is the anterior division, and also the posterior division, and this is the posterior division. The anterior and the posterior division of the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery will supply the first and the second part of the duodenum, and that is why we say that the upper region, or the proximal part of the duodenum, is supplied by branches from the common hepatic artery, which of course is a branch of the celiac trunk. So these arteries, the anterior and posterior branches of the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery, will supply the upper region of the duodenum. So that is how that is presented. Also, going back to the common hepatic artery, the common hepatic artery, from the name, hepatic means liver. It means that this artery is driving towards the liver to supply the liver oxygen. But along its way, it decides to give up the gastroduodenal artery, and that is why we now have the emergence of the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery and also the right gastroepiploic artery. But going back to the common hepatic artery, the common hepatic artery will then continue as the hepatic artery proper, and this is the hepatic artery proper arrowed in black. The hepatic artery proper means it's now tailing towards the liver. So from the hepatic artery proper, we have the emergence of another artery, which is the right gastric artery, and this is arrowed in yellow, and this is the right gastric artery. This right gastric artery goes towards the stomach to supply regions of the stomach. Remember, we have the left gastric artery, which is a direct emergence from the celiac trunk, which also supplies regions of the stomach. So this is the right named artery, which is the right gastric artery, and this of course will emerge to go down towards the stomach to supply the different regions of the stomach with oxygen. Then to further add to the blood supply of the duodenum around the upper part, remember we said that the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery, which emerges from the gastroduodenal artery, will give anterior and posterior division to supply the first and the second region of the duodenum. There is an initial 2 centimeter region, which is referred to as the duodenal cap. This duodenal cap is supplied by the right gastroepiploic artery and also the right gastric artery. If you look at the right gastric artery, after emerging from the hepatic artery proper, it descends down and it goes down towards the stomach, and you see it parting around the initial segment of the duodenum, and that is where it gives off branches to supply the duodenal cap, which is the initial 2 centimeter of the duodenum. So the duodenal cap is supplied by branches from the right gastric artery and also the right gastroepiploic artery. So these two arteries here will supply the initial 2 centimeter of the duodenum, which is also referred to as the duodenal cap, while the remaining part of the first region of the duodenum and also the second part will be supplied by branches from the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery, which of course will give anterior and posterior branches to supply this region. So that is how it is presented there. Going further to the hepatic artery proper, we already said that this hepatic artery proper, or the proper hepatic artery, is tailing towards the liver to supply it with oxygen. And what it finally terminates into is the right hepatic artery, and this is the right hepatic artery. And we have the left hepatic artery, which is the left hepatic artery, that are both harrowed in white. Then we have the emergence of the cystic artery. This is the cystic artery, arrowed in blue. The cystic artery supplies blood to the gallbladder. We know that the gallbladder is a storage medium for bile, and of course it is closely related to the liver. So that is how the final termination of the proper hepatic artery goes. So going back to the duodenum, we've already established that it is supplied by branches from the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery, the right gastric artery, and also the right gastroepiploic artery. So these three branches, of course, are from the common hepatic artery. And the common hepatic artery is from the celiac trunk. They supply the upper region of the duodenum. So going to the lower region of the duodenum, we already established that the lower region of the duodenum is supplied by the superior mesenteric artery. So we have the emergence of the superior mesenteric artery also in the ventral or the anterior wall of the abdominal aorta. This big pipe is the abdominal aorta. Of course, we have the emergence of the celiac trunk up here. Inferior to that, we have the emergence of the superior mesenteric artery. So this is the superior mesenteric artery. From the superior mesenteric artery, we have the emergence of the inferior pancreaticoduodenal artery. And this is the inferior pancreaticoduodenal artery. Remember, we have a superior pancreaticoduodenal artery here, which emerges from the gastroduodenal artery. So the inferior pancreaticoduodenal artery will then further divide into anterior and posterior divisions. So we have the anterior branch, then we have the posterior branch of the inferior pancreaticoduodenal artery. So these anterior and posterior divisions will also supply the second and the third region of the duodenum, and that is how they part to supply these two regions. So the region that we are now left with is the ascending part of the duodenum, which is the final terminal portion of the duodenum, and this is supplied by the first jejunal artery, and this is the first jejunal artery, which also emerges from the superior mesenteric artery. So you can see that in summary, the upper region of the duodenum is supplied by branches from the celiac trunk, while the lower region of the duodenum is supplied by branches from the superior mesenteric artery. Also to add that the first jejunal artery forms anastomosis with the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery, and you see it running this way, forming anastomosis or arterial link with the superior pancreaticoduodenal artery. And what this does is to give this region dual blood supply. That is why this region is really seen to undergo ischemia. So there is a rare situation of this region seen with total or partial loss of blood supply. So thanks for watching. Let's meet again.